because that's kind of mom I am. Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Courtney. I'm a homeschooling mom to 2 boys. I have a 5-year-old and a 2.5-year-old. I thought this would be kind of a fun video to film. I love watching people's favorites from the months or like people's empties, and I figured I would do a little bit of a twist on that and add in, as a homeschooling mama as well as a Christian, kind of adding in my favorites from the month. And so I started this a little bit later in the month, so we'll just kind of get our feet wet with this video and see what I came up with, and we'll see about next month. So I will start a little bit earlier for that one. Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to start out with was, I love YouTube, obviously. YouTube can be a wonderful resource for us as homeschooling mamas or as homeschooling parents or grandparents, whatever it is for you. YouTube can be a wonderful resource. There are so many books. I think because of the, pandemic that happened, I think it opened up a door for a lot of people to read books for kids and to publish them on YouTube. And like the publishers kind of said, that's fine, we accept that, right? Because I think prior to that, there was definitely a lot of like copyright restrictions and stuff. So anyways, so that's a great resource if there are books that you want to read to your child, but you can't make it to the library, or you don't want to break the bank and buy them. That is a wonderful resource, as you can go online to YouTube, and people have read them and posted the video. And while I don't do that a ton for my kids, we definitely prefer to go to the library or for me to thrift the books. It is a wonderful asset to include, especially like around holidays and stuff where you can't have all the Christmas books or all the Valentine's Day books or whatever it is. It's wonderful to go and just put some on your computer, to type some into YouTube, and to just kind of add more to your collection digitally. So, but the other really great thing about YouTube that I love is the songs for school for kids, and there's just such a variety of covering on every single subject, all different grades, and there are videos that are great for just explaining more complex issues for school, for your child to understand in a way that maybe mom or dad can't do exactly. And so it's just wonderful to look up different topics that your kids are learning about and see if somebody has made a video. It doesn't necessarily need to be a song. It could be an animated breakdown of a complex topic, especially when it comes to like science. But for younger kids, it is so wonderful to go on and find videos to help them learn their ABCs and their numbers and their seasons and things like that. And so I figured I would just share a few that we have stumbled on this month and have just absolutely fell in love with. And that is going to be, the first ones will be the Good and the Beautiful preschool songs. So I will link these down below. I'll try to put a screenshot up here. So the first one we really enjoyed was the Good and the Beautiful preschool songs, the months of the year. And so I find myself actually just singing this now because we've listened to it so much. I would say my kids, my youngest obviously enjoys it, but my 5-year-old, it has definitely benefited him where he is starting to just say the names of the months, and he's kind of got that rhythm down from their song to say them in order. He can't say them all the way through, but it has worked so well for him. And it's not like an annoying song, like Mom's okay playing it every day, like we're good with that. It's not annoying, and I do find that to be a common thread throughout their videos. So the other one was the days of the week. So that one has been absolutely phenomenal. My son I'll share it in just a minute, but there was another video we were playing that he learned his days of the week too. But this one I find to be one that I'm more likely singing, and I have seen for my youngest son, he has definitely benefited from this song because I like it, and so I like the rhythm. It's not like annoying, if you know what I mean. So I find myself singing it. So I will link that one down below. Like I said, it's the Good and the Beautiful, their days of the week. And then the other one that we've really enjoyed is the ABC letter sound. So I think they have several of these. Like some of them I'm thinking are like just one letter, and then maybe some are like a group of them. but we have really enjoyed that. My son, he knows his alphabet and he also knows the letter sounds that each of them make. But, you know, again, it's just that repetition and kind of keeping it in there. And instead of me constantly like asking, oh, what does this one say? Sometimes it's nice to just let a video do it for me, a song video do it for me. And so we've really enjoyed the Good and Beautiful's ABC letter sounds. And the other one that we have enjoyed is just their ABC song, and the one that we keep doing, and I don't know, they may have more than one of these, but the one we've been playing is the one with the red truck. Like my son, my 5-year-old, he'll say, Mama, can we do the ABC song with the truck? And that's the one he's talking about. And so it is the ABC, it's just like the ABC song, but again, it's the Good and the Beautiful, and it has a red truck, and he loves it, and it's very calm. Another YouTube channel we've really enjoyed, and primarily for that preschool age, so I'm sure it only gets, I don't know, I haven't like fully gone through his entire YouTube channel, but that's Bob Hartman, and his video for the days of the week is how my son learned his days of the week in order, was off of that video. So I will definitely link that one down below, and that's what that was the video we played literally, I think, every day for a week during our like morning time, and he nailed it and he knows it. But like I said, the Good and the Beautiful we have enjoyed just because I am like singing it when it's not even on, so it's been more of a beneficial for that for like my younger son. But the Bob Hartman one I definitely recommend, and we love doing like his counting ones. Right now we're trying to work on his counting to 30, and so we've been doing Bob Hartman's. I can put it right here and link it down below. And again, it's just more of that repetition. And so Bob Hartman, I know he has a ton on counting, and I have found that very beneficial for my oldest right now. So and I don't really know what it is about Bob Hartman, but my kids love it. And so I'm like, hey, you know, he doesn't annoy me like some of the other videos. And so I don't mind putting them on, and he has several videos for the same topic. So the other like songs I wanted to mention were also by the Good and the Beautiful bedtime songs. So while these aren't necessarily like for homeschooling, I figured I would throw that in. They are, I think you'll find even in the Good and the Beautiful, like their preschool songs or their songs for just schooling in general on their YouTube channel. Their beautiful bedtime songs are so calming and relaxing. And so you take how calm they are in their like school songs and you add it to the bedtime, and it's like it's even more calm. And so I have found that for us personally, bedtime, like doing the bath time routine and getting pajamas on, brushing our teeth, I find sometimes it is more stressful than any part of my day. And I definitely envy people who are like, oh, I love doing bath time and bedtime and it's so relaxing. At our house, it's hard to do that. And that is like my kids' witching hour, and it's like, okay, I get it. You guys just need to go to bed. And so playing the Good and the Beautiful bedtime songs, and I think you can buy the CD like off of their website. I just do it from their YouTube channel, and they have like, I think they grouped all the songs into like one video, and it has been so calming and so relaxing, and we have just thoroughly enjoyed that. So I figured I would throw that out as just a favorite. We have kind of enjoyed and implemented that into kind of our routine. And let's see, so the last like YouTube videos, I will link it down below. So it was definitely not like the actual company who put this up. It was just like a YouTuber like myself who put it up on YouTube, but they are the Frog Street Press color songs. And we have just started going through those with my youngest. He's very interested in colors and naming colors, and so this is just one of those fun ways that kind of while we're warming up during our morning time, I will play one of these with whatever colors we're kind of focused on that week. Now, I don't know if this person's YouTube channel has all the colors for the Frog Street Press color songs. I don't know if she has them all because we haven't gotten through all of them, but the ones that we have, we've enjoyed. And I think what's been so enjoyable is I actually learned in kindergarten these songs. Like my kindergarten teacher had the massive book, and then like she had the tape as well with the music, and so she would put that on and then she would flip through the book as the music's going. And what's so great about this video that this YouTuber posted is it's the video of the book being flipped, right? And the song is playing. And so it's so like sentimental to me because that's how I learned my colors. Like as a 30-year-old woman, I still know those songs from kindergarten. And so they're very catchy. They're a lot of fun. I think there's like kids singing in there if I can remember correctly. And so my kids love them. They're awesome. I highly recommend it, and I will link that down below. Okay. So the next thing I wanted to share was my youngest son. So he's 2.5. He is, like I said, going through his colors. And so I typically will just pick like 1 or 2 colors for our week. And just occasionally during the time we're doing school, which is usually during breakfast, I will just turn my attention to him and work with him a little bit. He genuinely just sits there and he listens to me doing homeschool with his brother while he's eating his breakfast. And, we do some other things that kind of keep his hands busy while I'm working with my 5-year-old. And so if that's a video you'd be interested in, you can comment that down below. But one of the things we have done is these color boxes. So I got these from, the company is Oriental Trading, and so I get like their magazines, and I get one for school, like homeschooling, and they have wonderful resources if you haven't checked. And some of these items you can also buy through Amazon. That Oriental Trading is like selling them through Amazon. But I will link it down below, the link. I think the link is to their website, but these are the boxes that I bought, and it is well worth the money. I can't remember exactly what it was, how much it was, but it comes in all the colors. It comes in, let's see, the colors it comes in are purple, white, orange. I have green, blue, yellow, black, and red. So that's the colors that I got. I don't know why they didn't do a pink, but anyways, and so what's great about these is I will pull out, especially if we're doing like 2 colors a week, so purple and orange, say we're doing those colors, and then inside it has realistic pictures on them. You can see, so like there's the monarch. And what's great is on the back, it has the color. So it's going to help your child to self-correct. So if they're like, oh dear, I don't know, because some of the pictures I have found like are maybe a little bit tricky, especially when you get into the white and the black ones. And so if your child doesn't know for sure, it does have that self-correcting piece on the back where it can kind of show. My son, my 2.5-year-old, like he now understands that. And so I've seen him like just turn it over and match that way. So I kind of have to sit down with him now. He has mastered all of these color boxes, by the way, but I have found, because now I've noticed he realizes the color on the back, is I try to sit down and do it with him, being more intentional of what is the color of the butterfly. And so I'll just show you a couple of the pictures. So you have the orange carrots, and then there is, let's see, we have oranges. Try to get them to focus, sorry. Oranges, and there's an orange flower. Let's see what else we got. And then we have orange pumpkin and an orange basketball. And so again, these are just really great for your child to, it's great as a language component as well. You know, you can say the pumpkins are orange, the basketball is orange, and you can start talking about other things, you know, oh, the carrots are orange and they are yummy, crunch, crunch. Like you would be able, there's so much more extension you can do with this. As a mama who has 2 kids in speech therapy, this has been a wonderful resource. So then I'll show you the purple ones. Like I said, on the back, they have that color correction as well. So this one is purple gems. There's a purple scarf. And then you have the purple florals, purple butterfly. And there is, I couldn't tell what that was in the viewfinder. So purple flowers again, and then you have the radish, or the cabbage, or the onion. So, and then the last one is onion. So we have thoroughly enjoyed these. They're very loved. My kids are kids who love to match and sort. And so if you have a kid who loves to sort, these are wonderful. And I like that it has realistic images. A lot of times when you get into color sorting activities, they're not realistic images. And so a lot of different extension items you can do. And even my 5-year-old still loves to do those. When I set them out, he'll dump them all out and sort them all, and he really enjoys doing that. So that I wanted to share, which was a favorite, and this is kind of like all homeschool mamas are probably like, yeah, Courtney, like you're just now catching on. So I had this little basket. It's from IKEA. I don't know if they still have it, but when we lived in the bigger cities, this is what I had when we had access to IKEA. And I had, for our homeschool, I had his pencils in here, and I had his dry erase markers. And at the time, it just worked really, really well. And then we started getting more into handwriting, so I had like the bigger erasers in here, and it just became an absolute nightmare. He started getting his scissors. We had, cutting scissors and stuff. So I went to Target Dollar Spot, and I was like, oh my goodness, these can get really expensive, these little caddies. And this one, I believe, at Target was $3 in like their dollar area, if you know what I'm saying. And I think it came in several colors, like white or clear, I can't remember. I got the blue, and I ended up getting the blue, and I absolutely love it. And so I have an area. We have our pencils right now where he has these trainer grips on them. Let me see if I can show you. Where he's got the small pencils. They are so on his pencils, he does have the little grippers to help him figure out the placement, where you put both fingers in here, and then he can put his thumb through, or he can put his middle finger through there and wrap his hands around. And I do find that they are beneficial. I know that some occupational therapists will say don't do it for very long, because then they won't get used to holding the pencil by itself in that proper way. But when you have a child who is just really starting to work on writing, and you want them to hold the pencil appropriately, this can be a hindrance to them learning handwriting, because they're trying to focus on, well, how do I hold the pencil? And I kept finding when I wasn't putting the grippers on that he was holding them like this, or he was holding it like this, and that became more of a frustration and a distraction when we were trying to just learn how to trace or make letters, as he was so focused, and I was so focused on correcting him. So for now, we have these, and he just really, it helps him so much. He literally just picks his pencil up, slides his fingers in there, puts his middle finger in there, and wraps his fingers around. And he's just wonderful. The only issue about this is when it comes to erasing, he would take his hand out and then do this, and then get kind of confused because, he turned his pencil upside down. So I ended up buying him, like just your big erasers, and he thinks this is so cool. So, but anyways, instead of having all of this just thrown into here, I have it in the caddies. Now these do come off, and I can see why it's $3, because they are a pain to get off, at least the one I have, and maybe the more you use it. But so anyways, I love it for $3, $3 or $5, whatever it was. It was like, I was like, I guess a no-brainer. And so I put his pencils on this side, and because of that, I just stick them up in the air, and we just make sure we're careful, because it's, the point is pointing up. Over here, I literally use this pen when we're counting. When we're counting, I find it's easier if I'm pointing as we're counting. We count a lot of things that are really small, so that's what I use that for. Then he has all of his dry erase markers over here that he will use, and then we have our glue sticks, and then he has his scissors, and we have a little eraser for his, he drew on that, for his dry erase markers, and then he has those erasers I showed you. And so he loves getting this out in the morning and carrying it over to the table. It's kind of like a pencil box to him, and it's a little bit extra special for my sanity. It's organization. So for $3 or $5, I could definitely be like, I can justify buying that. So, and get rid of this little. And the next favorite from January, and honestly, this might be my favorite. I'm gonna be totally honest. So if you're a mom, and maybe if you're a dad, maybe if you're a grandparent, you know that finding the perfect cups for your kids is like it's going to be a lifelong decision. Like every month I feel like I'm looking for new cups. Not really, but maybe like every 6 months I feel like I'm still trying to find a better cup. And I feel like recently it hasn't necessarily been a better cup for my kids because, oh, they're spilling or it's not keeping their drink cold. Like it's none of that. It's been just a better cup for my sanity. So I'll tell you what I mean. So we've gone through a ton of cups, okay? And the most recent ones that we have had that I'm going to show you, we've had these for probably like 8 months, okay? They've done the job. They have worked. They very rarely spill. Like they're fantastic, okay? I'm not going to lie. So they are the Zak brand. So Z-A-K, you probably cannot see that at the bottom. Okay, so they're the Z-A-K. I'll link them down below. I mean, they're great. They literally do not spill unless your kids start wearing out inside the straw where it's kind of, I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, like see ours are kind of getting worn, so it's kind of open in there. If you can see the light through it, they can get really kind of worn, and then they can if they tip, then they can spill. So anyways, so we have, these are the plastic ones, and we had 2 of these, and these would be my kids' milk cup in the morning and lunch and dinner. And so they would have these at the table when they're not drinking milk at the meal time. They go back in the fridge. So it didn't matter that they were the plastic ones and they were cheaper. And then their cups that they would have throughout the day for their water, they were still the same Zak cups with the same, straw, but they were, they were insulated. So they were the thermos or whatever. So, and they, again, phenomenal. They kept the drinks cold, and I really enjoyed that. So, but this is where like my mental breakdown finally happened in December. And I was like, I told my husband, I cannot do this anymore. So you get these cup lids, right? And the ones on the plastic cup fit on the thermos type ones, the insulated ones. And so you take the straw, you can see it has 2 little areas that you have to fit through. You push it through, and you have to get it all through there. And then that little one is the one that just caused me to have my nervous breakdown. You can see, like, I am trying to push it through, and okay, it's in there. Okay, so I would do that 4 times because they would have 2 milk cups and then 2 of the insulated ones. So I would do this 4 times a day, and then I would do it the next day and the next day, and I did that for like 8 months. I finally had my nervous breakdown where I was just like, oh my goodness. And these straws ended up finally kind of deteriorating, and we started buying the off-brand ones, and they definitely are like thicker. Do enjoy them more, to be completely honest, because they're not as flimsy, but they are a pain to get into this lid because they're so more sturdy. So anyway, so then you take your straw and then you shove it in there like that, and you're good to go. So like I said, we loved them, they worked, but after doing that 4 times a day for 8 months, and then buying, whenever we would replace them, we would replace them with the sturdier straws, and it was just like, I'm done. I can't do it anymore. My hands literally hurt. So again, Mama was ready for a new one. So these are the 2 options we ended up buying, and I love them. I am sold on them. So this is called, there's the brand. I'm not going to try to pronounce it. Okay, so we just stumbled upon these. Okay, it's not focusing. I don't know if it's focusing on my ring. So there's the brand, and we got a 2-pack. So we got this one, and then it also came with like construction truck ones. And so my son currently has his milk in here. So I'm not gonna like take it apart and drip milk everywhere, but you can see that it has a straw, and the straw goes in this area. If you don't want to use the straw, you can push this in, and you could use this little sip area where it comes out that way. But they go in so easy, and instead of having to push that through the lid like a crazy person, I literally just slide the straw up through it and I twist it on, and that goes in so nice and soft. So I don't know what the durability is going to be of these. These are insulated, which are great, and so we've just really enjoyed these. I've been very impressed, and I can't remember exactly how much they were, but I will link them down below. And these are what we use for their milk cups. Now during the day, what we use are the Reduce, And I think these are the 12-ounce ones. I will link whatever size I have down below, but they are adorable. Like, oh my gosh, they're adorable. And my son, my 5-year-old, he loves that it has a handle, because again, my kids have been using these for the last 8 months. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but he feels like mommy and daddy because he's got a cup like this. And I mean, they're short, they're cute. I'm like, I almost want one for myself. And the lids are kind of the same idea, if it'll focus, where you can slide the straw in right here. It does have this area where your child can sip through. So that is, I would say, the only con is I just have to make sure that they don't tip them. Now, my 5-year-old is so good that if his drink falls, he'll go, oh no, pick up my cup. And either I will pick it up or he will run over and pick it up. And he's really good if he sees his younger brother, who's 2.5, his knocks over, he'll pick his up for his brothers. But even my 2.5-year-old has gotten really good, where, you know, just probably hearing me say, oh no, pick up your cup, when they had these. But I think even just with his brother, like, he already knows if your cup tips, you need to pick it up. So I only put water in these, so again, I'm not like overly concerned if it falls over. My kids are always carrying their drinks around with them, and so again, if you're not that kind of person that you allow your child to wander around with water cups, or if your children are just not accustomed to carrying it with them all the time, then you're probably not going to be like on them all the time like I am. I'm just constantly, it's second nature, just like, okay, my kids have their drinks, where are their drinks, are they upright, you know? So, but anyways, we have not had any issues. And I, like, this fell over this morning in my bathroom, and by the time I got it, it had not leaked. So I mean, again, it was like tipped over for a couple seconds, but you understand. So if you don't want to use the straw, you could plug it with this blue area. You could plug it, take the straw out and plug it, and then your child could drink out of this, and they could close it when they're done drinking. My kids are straw drinkers, and so I trust my children as they're wandering around to do that, okay? But you could put the straw through it like this and close it. And I think, honestly, that's why I enjoy it so much, is you have the different options. Kids are straw drinkers, and I am more concerned with them keeping the open area closed, and it has a really good tight seal, and then they have the straw where it can hang out. And like this morning, this knocked over in my bathroom when my son was in there while I was doing my makeup, and I was like, oh buddy, don't forget to pick up your cup. And he went and got it, and I mean, it didn't leak. So I think the straws are going to be kind of the same, where they might eventually give some wear and tear on the inside, but I enjoy them. I have been pleasantly surprised. And so there are new cup options, and we absolutely are in love, and I love them, and I probably will end up buying some more. Okay, so kind of on that same strand, I figured I would throw this out. I just realized they had these. So I'm usually pretty particular when it comes to yogurt for my kids, as well as myself. Yogurt can be kind of a secret area where a lot of sugar lies. So my youngest, though, is an incredibly picky eater. Like sometimes he doesn't even eat dinner, and he's totally fine, and then he barely eats breakfast. Like, and again, we have talked with his pediatrician. He sees a speech therapist. He's under the watch of an occupational therapist. Like, everyone's on the same board, you know, everyone's on the same page. Like, he's like, he just eats when he's hungry, and when he's not, he's totally fine. He's just very in tune to, I guess, his metabolic needs. And so anyway, so he started to really enjoy yogurt, and the ones he enjoyed were tube yogurts. And I was like, oh gosh, I don't know if I want him eating the Go-Gurts, because they're very high in sugar. So let's see, one tube is 45 calories, and the carbohydrates are 8 grams, with the included sugars is about 3 grams. And so I was like, I don't know if I really want my child to be eating all this. If I was okay with doing that, but like, he loves them, and he will actually eat yogurt now, and he will eat, but he'll only eat these. And so I just figured I'd throw them out. I don't know how often they've had them. So these ones, you can see they have the no added color. It has the no artificial flavors and no high fructose corn syrup. And so it's called Yoplait Simply, and so I just had never seen that they had these, and I was like, oh, okay. And my husband picked them up, and my son will eat them. And so those have been great. I'm glad he will eat those. So the other thing that was just kind of fun, my kids absolutely love these. So we have, let's see, 2 days where, like, my kids wake up, they sleep in. My youngest likes to sleep in a little bit, and so some days I just need a quick meal for my kids for breakfast before we head off to therapy. And we have bought these. These are the Belgian Boys, the Love Bites pancakes, bite-sized, light and fluffy. So they obviously have the heart-shaped ones out for Valentine's Day, but they originally come in just little circle ones. And so my kids love these, and they were so excited when we bought the ones that have hearts. They're adorable, I tell you what. And it says there's 32 ready-to-eat pancakes, so you can cook them in the microwave or the pan, but do the air fryer. If you have an air fryer, do the air fryer. It's the only way I will cook them. And you can do them in the air fryer for, let's see, for the ultimate crispy and fluffy pancakes, cook in the air fryer at 350 degrees for 5 minutes. So there is your instructions right there. Let's see, focus. And that is the way we do them. Right here, that's the way we do them. My kids love them. You get 6 pieces, is about 180 calories. So this is just super easy and super quick. It doesn't have a ton of ingredients in it either. And I don't know if it's gonna focus. Let's see. Okay, so and really they're pretty decent. You know, they're nut-free, no palm oil, suitable for vegetarians, no artificial flavors, colors, or preservatives. And then happiness is baked in, right? So I think that they're wonderful. My kids love them. And so my oldest is a kid who likes butter on his pancakes, but he doesn't like syrup. My youngest does not like butter on his pancakes, and he likes to dip them in syrup. So go figure, right? And so these have been wonderful. I highly recommend these if you need a quick and easy pick-me-up. Next favorites that I had that I wanted to share were some books that I had. And so if you have been around my channel at any time at all, you know that I'm a book lover, and my kids are doing, well, my 5-year-old is doing a literature-based curriculum. Both of my kids love books. We love going to the library. I have a small addiction to thrift books. So we have a ton of books. We love reading books. They're one of the best investments and one of the greatest gifts you can give to your child. So with that said, we have rented a ton of books from the library, and I will try to keep a better track of what our favorites were going forward if these videos are videos you guys enjoy. But I will just give a few that have really stood out this month to my kids. Just three. And again, going in next month, it's probably going to be really hard for me to narrow it down. So, but one of our favorites that my kids have really enjoyed is Mouse Paint. And this is by Ellen Stoll Walsh. And so I've not read a ton of the books by this author, but they have some in the back that are like mouse count and mouse shapes. And so we're looking forward to getting those. But my son has loved this one for a long time. My 5-year-old, we read this one last year and he loved that. And then we kept getting it from the library. And so this is the first time I actually read it to my 2.5-year-old. I don't know how, but so when I went to the library last time, this was the first time that I read it with my son, my youngest son, and he absolutely enjoyed it. And like I said, we're really big on our colors right now, and so this one is so fun where you're gonna have the mice are gonna get into the cans of paint, and then they are gonna start let me flip to the page, getting into mixing the paint that drips onto the ground that has spilled, and of course it's going to get into color mixing. And so you can imagine what the blue and the yellow guys are going to get into, and they're going to make green and purple. It's such a wonderful, fun, yet quick and easy read. And even if your kids are like, color mixing is beyond them right now, I think just the basics of, oh, this mouse is red and now he's standing in yellow, was so fun. My youngest absolutely enjoyed this. I mean, this is probably one I need to buy. And so I don't know why I haven't rented any more from this author. So next time I go to the library, I'm definitely going to look for some more by that author, but we've absolutely loved that one. Okay, so my youngest is potty training right now. We started the week of Christmas because that's kind of mom I am. It was not a good idea, but we made it through. And so with my oldest actually potty trained very, very quick. And that's all I'm going to really say. I think it's a very private thing. It's a very personal thing, and I don't really need to air it out. But my oldest potty trained very quickly, like caught on like that. My other one was younger, right? I potty trained my oldest. He was a little bit older than 2.5, but not by much. But my youngest, it took a while, okay? So we are about a month in and he's got it. He's had a few accidents, but like he's good. He gets it. He knows where it goes. We're good. But I did find I needed to buy a few other books. And just to kind of like, it was kind of like he wasn't getting it. And so I was like, maybe he just needs some more book understanding. So we got several. So if you're like, oh, what potty books do you enjoy? Comment that down below and I can do a video on that, because we bought quite a few. Okay. And he was actually really interested in the potty books that we already had. And that was great. It was great. But I was like, I think he needs something more. And so I got him this one, which is Everyone Poops. And this one is like really highly recommended. And I almost got it when my oldest was potty training, but for whatever reason, it was like $28 or something crazy. So I don't know if there was a deal, like if there was like some issue going on, but it was not that expensive when I bought it this time. And my 5-year-old thought it was hysterical. And my youngest was kind of like a light clicked on and like he understood. So do I really think it helped in his potty training? Like his potty training understanding? Probably not. I think maybe he understood we all do it, including animals, and why we do it. And I think he kind of understood like it's nothing to be ashamed of, but let's put it in the right place. But my 5-year-old thought it was hysterical. And gosh, I mean, I don't even know if I should be showing this, right? But it was just like, it's super simple, and yet it is just, my kids absolutely loved it. And so my youngest he had this last night in his room and he called for us or whatever. And my son was like, he just held up the book and was telling his dad, poop. And not that he needed to go, but he was just telling him what book he was reading. So it's just a lot of fun. I'm sure somebody has read this aloud on YouTube. I didn't look that up, but this is one that is not only just like my 5-year-old has thoroughly enjoyed it because he is at that age, but my 2.5-year-old, it really kind of clicked. So this is the other book that we have really been enjoying. So this is one that my youngest son got for Christmas from my parents, and it is The Ultimate Book of Animals, more than 50 flaps, pop-ups, pull tabs, and more. So my youngest son is a book lover, especially if it has flips and flaps to flip, and he absolutely loves this. And he is an animal lover, which has been fun because my oldest wasn't really an animal lover. Like, he's interested in animals, but not like where he's going to sit down and talk about animals and read books about animals, whereas my youngest is the opposite. So it's kind of been fun. But this book is amazing, and they have a ton. We actually just bought the city one. I think it has something to do with city. So we bought that one for my oldest son for his birthday. And this one though is just amazing. Like, I mean, it is definitely geared more towards older kids. I would not necessarily say this is for a 2.5-year-old, but because my youngest son is so interested in flipping the flaps, like, because he's so interested in that and he's interested in animals, it's just wonderful. And they don't always work perfectly, but it is amazing, you know? And then there's like these pull tabs. I mean, they're just, it's an amazing book. And then the last one of the pages I was going to show you, this one was you just kind of open it. And it has like, you know, so again, if you, as a mama who is a book lover and has somehow been blessed with book loving children, I am just from a very young age, I just work very hard with my children and I stay on top of them about how we treat books, how we take care of books, and I mean from a young age. And, you know, I've been around mamas and dads who are like, oh, he's 4 years old, or he's 3 or under, don't give him any books, right? Because he'll just rip them. And like, that to me is just, you know, is just such a foreign concept, because starting at like 6 months old, I put real books in my kids' hands and I show them and I walk them through how we're very gentle. Do they understand it at 6 months? Absolutely not. But you're starting early, and you're also kind of giving them that confidence of, I trust you to have things like this and enjoy things like this as long as we treat it with respect. And so my kids still, they do rip the books, or the binds get kind of ruined because of how they open them. I mean, but they're very good about telling mom or dad, and we will fix it. But again, my kids, if they're very rough with books and stuff, or if they throw books, I step in right away, and we reprimand them on that. So there's a little side train there, but I do get that question sometimes about that. So, okay, so the next thing I wanted to talk about was books that I'm enjoying. And I figured if you are a Christian, or if you are a book lover, then this might be interesting for you. So again, these aren't all Christian books, and they're not like geared towards being a homeschooling mom, but as a Christian and as a homeschooling mama, these are the books I'm currently enjoying. So the first one is definitely not for the faint of heart, and that is Five Chimneys. I will put the picture right here, by Olga Lengel, and I'm sure I butchered her last name, so I greatly apologize. But this book, I am a person who loves to read about World War II and read about the Holocaust, but also I just generally enjoy like historical fiction around that time. This one is true. It's a nonfiction book, and it's a memoir, and I have read a ton of Holocaust books, from memoirs to fiction as well as nonfiction. And I mean, a ton. And I have not read one like Olga's. It's a heavy book, and some of the things that she recounts, I did not know that the SS did it that way, and it has been eye-opening, heartbreaking, I mean, just gut-wrenching. But at the same time, it is such a amazing story that she is able to tell. And I can't even imagine how hard it is for her to tell it, having gone through it and lived through it and experienced it firsthand. But as someone who's reading it secondhand, it isn't, like I said, it's not for the faint of heart, but it is a phenomenal read. And I'm actually reading it on my Kindle. So typically when I'm doing my elliptical in the morning, that's the time that I read that book. And like I said, it's not an easy read. I hold my babies a little bit tighter after reading it, for sure. And, books like that I think are just eye-opening. And at the same time, they're just, it's so inconceivable that mankind can do that to one another. And it's just, again, it's just appalling. And I definitely do recommend it, though. I'm not done with it. I still have I think 30% left to go, so I don't know how it's going to end or how she's going to kind of end it. She's still just doing a lot of the recounting of what's going on in the camp that she's in. Like I said, I think it's worth a read, but it's not for the faint of heart. And I've read a lot of Holocaust books, and I will be honest, hers is probably the hardest one I've read. I read, if you watched I can link it up here, my book review. I can link it up here, but the books, like the best books I read in 2024, one of the Holocaust books I listed was Inside the Gas Chambers, being a part of the Sonderkommando. And she does mention people who work in the Sonderkommando. And if you don't know, the Sonderkommando at Auschwitz were prisoners who were forced to basically get people ready for the gas chambers after they got out of the gas chambers, putting them in the crematorium, and then after the crematorium. So you're handling the bodies, you're taking stuff off of them, you're putting the bodies in there. I mean, I can't even imagine that job. And she does talk about that, how those people are just never going to be the same, absolutely horrific. But I digress. So that book was definitely very hard to read. And I think her book, and it might be just how it's written compared to Inside the Gas Chamber, that book, it could be how it's written, but and I listened to that one, whereas Five Chimneys I'm reading on my Kindle. And so again, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm stretching this one out a little bit longer than I did the Inside the Gas Chamber. I think I listened to that in like 2 days, whereas this one I've been I've been reading all throughout January. So sticking with me longer maybe. So, but yeah, not for the faint of heart, but I highly recommend it. The other one I'm reading also on my Kindle is my book Strange Fire by John MacArthur. And so as a Christian, that's just currently an area of theological study that God is walking me through. And I'm thoroughly enjoying it. And it's really just kind of his biblical attack on, and I do think I would say it's an attack, and I do mean that respectively, on the hyper-charismatic, hyper-Pentecostal movement. He's going after the abuse of the Holy Spirit. So it's not necessarily that he's attacking that movement just to attack it. I mean, he's attacking it biblically and theologically sound. Again, it's not a cessationist attacking a continuationist, but he is definitely attacking them with sound doctrine and biblical, saying what they're doing in the name of Christianity is not right, meaning it's not biblical. It's they're promoting heresy, they're promoting blasphemy, and again, it obviously caused quite the stir when this book was published, and I think it's been about 10 years, if I'm remembering that correctly. I mean, quite the firestorm, and I can definitely see reading Strange Fire, and I love John MacArthur. I love all of his books, but this one, you can just feel the passion behind it. And it's so powerful. And I think even if you're a continuationist, and I think it's worth a read. I am a cessationist, but I am not a hard cessationist. So there are certain instances where I can justify biblically certain instances where a continuation of the apostolic gifts may continue. But again, very rare, very rare. But like John MacArthur's a hard cessationist, right? And many of the people he's quoting in the book are hard cessationists. And like I said, they're going after not necessarily continuationism, but what people predominantly in the hyper-charismatic, hyper-Pentecostal movement, what they are propagating based on that continuationist belief. Because when you hold to a continuationist belief and you prop that up, it creates a platform that it's very easy for wolves to come in and to take advantage of it, really, and to propagate, well, who's to say prophecy isn't continuing, or revelation, right? Who's to say that speaking in tongues doesn't continue? And so when you believe that, you give it a platform, you prop it up, and then it just invites a whole bunch of people to come in and take advantage of it. And that's really what John MacArthur is kind of going at so far, right? So far, I'm definitely taking my time through it. I have highlighted so many things in here. So if that's something you want to hear of, like, do a review on it and tell us some of the highlights you had. I have highlighted so much in this book. Like, I can't wait to finish the book and then go back through and just read the highlights. So good. And he has so many phenomenal sources that he is citing where I'm like, I need to write this down. Like, I need to go read these. Like, so many other books have now been added to my TBR. So, okay. I digress. So the next one that I'm just so enjoying, I have not gotten through that much because I have a couple other books I'm trying to finish, but it's Truth or Territory by Jim Osman. I could just sit down and just listen to Jim Osman. He is a pastor, Kootenai Community Church in Idaho. He is just a wealth of knowledge. And so this book is all about spiritual warfare. Again, it is going after the hyper-charismatic, hyper-Pentecostal movement and how they propagate falsely spiritual warfare. And so, he is going after a lot of like the how we do spiritual warfare biblically, versus what the hyper-charismatic, hyper-Pentecostal movement is propagating. And like I said, it's if you look up Christian books and stuff, there is no Christian book topic that makes more money than spiritual warfare books, predominantly ones on deliverance ministries. And the question is, are they biblical? And so he is really gonna hold your hand and walk through why it is not. And it's not just deliverance ministries. Like, he goes in and he is saying many experts or spiritual warfare teach a methodology for battling demons, taking territory, and canceling curses. It sounds like something you would expect to find out of a Harry Potter novel. Practices such as binding and rebuking Satan, canceling generational curses, spiritual mapping are popular in many Christian circles and taught by many non-charismatic conservative churches. But are they biblical? And he is just going to really go in depth with all of this. And like I said, I'm still in the introduction part. I am blown away. And like, I genuinely can't stop reading it, even though I'm that far along. And I've enjoyed his writing so much. Like I said, I enjoyed listening to him, but I'm definitely going to be getting some of his other books to listen to. Okay. I'm definitely going to get more of his books to read. Okay, the other one I wanted to talk about was Digital Minimalism by Cal Newport. So this is, like, again, just a whole other video to talk about, but I have just felt very convicted as a Christian. I mean, here I am on YouTube, right? But as far as like a personal Instagram account, I have felt very convicted with Instagram and my personal Instagram. And again, that's just a whole other video and a whole other topic, but there was a couple YouTube videos I had stumbled upon when I first kind of started having this conviction. And without making this super long and drawn out, one of the ladies that I had listened to her YouTube video, I could actually link it down below. She is a homeschool mama. And so if you're a homeschooler, you probably have stumbled upon her videos. And she has this one about why she deleted her Instagram account. And it's a great video. And I agree a lot with what she said. But she had mentioned this book and I was like, I'm going to go read it, because that's who I am. And I'm just going to read a little bit about the book and we're just going to leave it at that. But I felt so convicted of it. It was a really good book. And I think he made some really good points. I have not stopped thinking about it. And it almost like it just justified the convictions I was having about Instagram and that digital footprint. So I figured I would go ahead and just read a few quotes from the book, just so you can kind of get a taste of his writing, but also just like where the book is kind of going. So these are in no particular order. Okay, so simply put, humans are not wired to be constantly wired. The urge to check Twitter or refresh Reddit becomes a nervous twitch that shatters uninterrupted time into shards too small to support the presence necessary for an intentional life. You cannot expect an app dreamed up in a dorm room or among the ping pong tables of Silicon Valley incubator to successfully replace the types of rich interactions to which we've painstakingly adapted over millennia. Our sociality is simply too complex to be outsourced to a social networks, or reduced to instant message and emojis. Being less available over text, in other words, has a way of paradoxically strengthening your relationship even while making you slightly less available to those you care about. This point is crucial because many people fear that their relationships will suffer if they downgrade this form of lightweight connection. I want to reassure you that it will instead strengthen the relationships that you care most about. You can be the one person in their life who actually talks to them on a regular basis, forming a deeper, more nuanced relationship than any number of explanation points and bit-mapped emojis can provide. And just real quick to pause, that this should be a whole other video, and it totally could be, but that is like key to what I have actually already found by deleting my personal Instagram. Is the people who actually, have been so much more intentional in my life because they're not seeing the constant updates of my kids or what we're doing or how homeschool is going or like daily basis, right? Or weekly basis. Instead, they need to reach out and actually talk to me and say, hey, I'm going to take this time out of my day to call you and actually talk to you and converse. And it's the same thing. It's because I deleted my personal Instagram, then I don't have people constantly in my I don't even know what it's called anymore. on my homepage where I'm getting updated of like, oh, I see, oh, okay, this is what you did today. That's what you drank today. Oh, okay, that's you driving. Oh, that's a beautiful sunset. Like instead, I'm not getting those updates from them. So I feel more obliged to, and I want to, I generally want to know. So I'm going to reach out and I'm going to call them. And I'm going to say like, hey, I'm taking the time out. I want to know, how is life going? And in that moment, not only am I setting time to be more intentional and to care more, but I'm more likely to get that one-on-one interaction. Whereas on Instagram, it might be like, oh, I'm going to go ahead and put a comment or a like, but she may not see it or he may not see it for another like 8 hours because they're at work or something like that. And at that point, that conversation has dissipated, right? Okay. Because digital minimalists spend so much less time connected than their peers, it's easy to think of their lifestyle as extreme, but the minimalists would argue that this perception is backwards. What's extreme is how much time everyone else spends sharing what everyone else spends staring at their screens. Okay, so the other book I enjoyed, and this one was kind of controversial because I saw a lot of people, either you liked it or you didn't, and that was The German Wife by Kelly Rimmer. Did I like it enough that I would read it again? Yes, I would. I rated it 4 stars. It is definitely one I would listen to again, and I wouldn't say it's like one of my absolute favorite books, but I really did enjoy it, and that one was just really good. Like I said, I enjoy kind of that time period of that historical fiction aspect of World War II, also like pre-World War II, post-World War II, and it was good. I did enjoy the story and the characters. Okay, so the other one I enjoyed was Redeeming Love by Francine Rivers. So it took me a while to get into it. Like there was probably 3 times I almost stopped reading it. It definitely took me a while to get into it, but it was really good and how it ended, and by the time I finally got attached to the characters, I didn't want it to end. It was so good. And so just 2 of the quotes that really kind of stood out to me: for some of us, 1 mile can be more to walk than 30. And then this quote was towards the end: though fallen low, God raised her up. And it was like, oh my gosh, when I was reading that, was really good. Okay. The last book that I just really enjoyed this month was The Gospel According to God, and that is by John MacArthur. And I have not read his The Gospel According to Jesus. It's very controversial, but this one was so good, and it is literally a full exposition of Isaiah 53. Listen to this one, the audio of it on Audible. It was free if you have a membership, and it was wonderful. It was wonderful to listen to. It was wonderful to just get that full exposition of it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was really good. Okay, so those books I definitely recommend. And we're just going to do a couple last topics. So these were some apps I've really enjoyed lately. And the first one is the Goodreads app. So I have been keeping track of my books probably since the fall through Goodreads, and it really hasn't been until like this month that I've really just enjoyed it. I've enjoyed being able to go back and see what I read and what I rated it. And I've also just really enjoyed that you can find similar books on Goodreads. Like, I don't know, I just generally have enjoyed that app. So even if like you read like one book every 2 months, I would try out the app. It's really awesome it's just really cool to log your books and see how much you enjoyed it by what you rated it. And it's just really good to kind of see, wow, look at all these books I've read. Even if you're not like me, where you're reading like 4 or 5 books a month, but if you're doing one every 3 months and just kind of keeping that track of it, it's wonderful. I absolutely love it. And I wish I would have done this earlier. I don't know why it took me so long to get on the Goodreads bandwagon, but I digress. Okay, so the other app I wanted to recommend, and this is for all you ladies out there. So if you're a man watching this is not going to be an app for you. So you can just kind of, fast forward a little bit. So, but it is the Clear Blue app. And so I have thoroughly enjoyed this app, okay? I am totally old school, okay? So we're just going to get a little personal here, but this is the Clear Blue app when you open it. And you can see the colors and the circle, it's tracking my cycle. And then of course it has like your month down here where you can pull it up, and it's going to tell you like If you are trying to conceive, it's going to tell you like when you're the most fertile. And then it also is going to tell you your expected, like this is the next month of February, and it's going to tell me my expected days of my cycle where I will have my period. And so I've just really enjoyed this. So again, whether you are trying to conceive or not, you want to track your ovulation or not, I think regardless is just really great to log and keep track of your cycle and when and how your period is going and stuff like that. So I've always been the person that I've just logged it on my Google Calendar, like my start, my finish, and that's it. Then the next month, start, finish. Like that's how I've done it. And I have 2 kids. And so this has just been a game changer. It's a free app. I know there's a lot of apps out there that will track your ovulation and your period and all of that, and you have to pay for it. And that's great. That's you. If that's you, that's fine. But this one I highly recommend. I have just really enjoyed it. And they have a lot of good articles that you can read through this and stuff. So I just figured I would throw that one out there as well. So I am a homeschooling mama who stays home with her kids all day, right? I don't go out of the house to work. I do YouTube, but besides that, and I do have an Etsy shop, but besides that, like I stay home a lot of the time. And a huge part of my life, not only for my physical health, but also my mental health, is working out. And so I work out 6 days of the week with a 7th day that I do stretching. And so for my mental health, that is just works for me. I am not somebody who I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta, keep into a specific size or, kill myself in cardio. Like I just genuinely enjoy working out. I have loved working out since I got out of high school, but it is just a huge part of my life. And as I've gotten older and became a mother of 2 children and staying home with them, it is part of just keeping my mental health on track. And again, that is a whole other video, and if you guys want to see that, I am completely open about my workout journey and how I work out and what my routine is and why I work out the way I work out, and that linked to mental health. Like again, this is like one of my favorite topics to talk about besides theology. So definitely comment that down below if that's something you would want to see, and I will definitely do a video on it. But it's a huge part of my life, and I usually wake up in the morning and I eat breakfast and then I work out. And my favorite workout app, and I do pay for it, is Fitness Blender. And it's not necessarily an app, I shouldn't say that. It is through their website, and I do pay for it. They do have some free ones on YouTube. They don't do a lot of free ones anymore, but I have been with Fitness Blender all the way back in the early days when it was just Kelly and Daniel starting out, where she wasn't even talking. They were doing voiceovers. Like if you know, you know. But I love Fitness Blender, and now they're to the point where yes, you pay to get more features, but they have so many more services that they offer, and they have a whole bunch of trainers now, which is amazing. I love all their trainers that they have. So I digress. Fitness Blender is just my favorite people to work out with, and I love working out at home. For me, I am not a morning person, but I also know that I am somebody who has to work out first thing in the morning. Otherwise, it just, my mental health, I just need to get that done before I can go about my day and deal with my kids. And but honestly, I wake up, I eat breakfast right away. I am somebody who has to eat first thing in the morning, which I know is like 1% of the population or whatever. I'm kidding, and I jump into my workout, and I usually work out for about 60 to 75 minutes. It just kind of depends on the day and how late I slept in, but that's usually what I try to aim for. And again, that's a whole other video we can talk about how I plan my workouts and how I get them so that I eat breakfast and I come and I push play. Like that's how quick I am, because I've already prepped it all, and I owe it all to Fitness Blender. And like I said, I have worked out with them for years, but I have just really appreciated that this month more than I normally do. And again, I don't miss a day of working out. This is not like some New Year's resolution, right? Because you see a lot of people making their 2025 goals, and I have just gotten to the point where working out is just second nature to me. It is not something I fight with. It is not something I set goals with. I just do it because I have reaped the benefits of it for so long. And again, it's mostly mental for me. and also physical. I mean, it makes you feel good. So I figured I would share that. And even though I've loved it for years, definitely grateful this month for. So I will link them down below. I highly recommend it. I can't recommend them enough. And so also with my working out though, is my husband got me an elliptical. So I am a runner. We have a treadmill and I usually run, I don't know, 3 or 4 times a week. It just kind of depends again on the week and health reasons as well. Some weeks are easier than others, but he got me an elliptical. It's not always my go-to for my cardio, but I have enjoyed the elliptical. That was part of the physical therapy routine that I had with my physical therapist, and I just remember telling my husband how much I enjoyed it, and so he bought me one. And it is so nice that it is in our house, and it is not only a great way to get cardio in, I get a phenomenal workout out of it, but unlike running, I can actually read my Kindle while I do it, and it has just been just a nice new thing that has been in my workout routine this month. And so I figured I can try to put a little bit of b-roll in and show you the elliptical I have. I will link it down below. I enjoy it. My husband says he doesn't enjoy it as much because, so my husband's over 6'2", so he says he doesn't enjoy it as much as I do. He probably needs one maybe geared more to tall people, but I will link it down below, and that was one I thoroughly enjoyed. So if you enjoyed this video, like I said, I enjoy watching people's favorite videos, and I just figured, coming from a homeschooling mama who is also a Christian, that maybe this would be enjoyable. I tried to get kind of a variety of things. Like I said, going into February, I now am more prepared for this. This was something I kind of thought about like 2 weeks into January, and I was like, oh, I should do that. That would be awesome. And so I'll try to be more prepared next month. It might be a longer video. It might be shorter. I don't know. I'm definitely going to have to narrow down the book choices, especially for the kids, because you know we're reading a lot. So, all right. Well, that is the video, guys. I would love to hear what your favorites were this month for January. Whether you're a homeschooling mama, whether you're a Christian, that doesn't matter. I want to hear what your favorites were this month. Comment them down below, and any questions you have as well, feel free to reach out and I will get back to you. And I will catch you in the next video. Bye, guys.